各族裔法轮功学员遍布全球。是什么力量在吸引着不同文化背景的练功人？请随大海访谈，了解他们对自然、社会与人生的看法。Marco， 很高兴您给我们这样一个机会来分享您的个人经历和您的想法。那我们先来谈谈您的成长经历吧，比如您是在哪出生的呀？您的教育和职业背景呀
？Sure. So I was born in Italy. I'm originally from Italy, from Florence, which is in central Italy. And I spent there like 25 years, pretty much. I went to college there. I studied economics and anthropology in Florence for 4 years. And I had the opportunity through the studies to, I'd say, open a bit more of my mind, especially when it comes to state of affairs in the world. Like human rights issues, different countries have different levels of developments, different cultural aspects. When I finished university, college, I have to be honest, I didn't really know what to do with my life, which it seems is fairly common in Italy, based on on the people I know. And so I decided to move to Australia, mainly because I wanted to learn English. I couldn't speak English properly. In Italy, unfortunately, it seems the Italian education system, at least at that time, 20 years ago, I couldn't really learn English. And I thought, I'm missing out if I'm unable to speak the international language. So for a series of let's say events, I decided to go to Australia. And in Australia, I've been working in different fields, and restaurants, on farms. I was traveling and trying to understand what I wanted to do with my life.
那您现在已经会说英语，还有意大利语，还有其他语言吗？
Yeah, well, Italian is my native language. English, I'm okay, I would say. Can't complain. And I can understand and speak Spanish as well, which is very similar to Italian. I also had an opportunity to stay in Mexico and in Spain for several months for work and for vacation. And so I pick it up fairly easily.
那您是怎么接触和开始练法轮功的呢？
I started in Australia. As I told you, I moved to Australia after college. And I have to say that I was not really interested in spiritual disciplines, or let's say Asian, Eastern practices. Like I had tried yoga, I had tried Tai Chi briefly, a couple of times maybe, but I was not really interested. So what happened is that I was in a city called Brisbane, and I was walking outside, and there were a couple of people with a little table on the street, and they were asking people to sign a petition for the human rights abuses that unfortunately are still happening in China. This was back in 2006. And so I saw the petition, I said, well, I don't know anything about this. How is it possible? And because part of my studies were dedicated to human rights issues around the world. So I talked to a Chinese person, asking him, how come I don't know anything about this? How do I know this is true? And this person said, well, you don't know anything because the Chinese Communist Party is putting a lot of effort and money to censor disinformation and to spread propaganda in the West. So it's not a surprise that you don't know about the persecution of Falun Gong in China. So yeah, I signed the petition, and then this person told me, well, do you know about Falun Gong? It's a meditation practice, it's very good for you, it's easy to learn, it's free of charge. If you want to try, we get together during the weekend. This is the location. And I said, well, yeah, why not? Let's give it a try. And so I went there. It was a very nice park, and I went there like 3-4 times. And then I said, yeah, okay, well, I'm not sure I'm that interested. But then the last time I went there, I had a very strong reaction. I felt really sick. Felt my bones were aching in a weird way. I felt really dizzy. I wasn't feeling that well, and I was thinking, well, what's happening? I felt kind of concerned. But then one of the local practitioners of Falun Gong, who, how can I say, this person was assisting other practitioners at the practice site. She told me, well, it seems you're having a good reaction. This is considered a purification of your body. And she asked me, did you read the books? Oh. And I said, well, no, I didn't know there are books. I had no idea. And so she said, well, it's actually a good thing that you're having this reaction. It means that the exercises are working. And I was kind of concerned, but I said, okay, let me read these books and let's see what it's all about. And so I went back home and I downloaded, there is a book in Falun Gong called Falun Gong, which is the book that is considered like an introduction. That's what usually newcomers, people who try the practice, read. There is a section where the founder of Falun Gong, Master Liang Zhe, explains the principle of the exercises. There is a Q&A section at the end. From that moment, how can I say, it took me a while, it took me several months to commit to myself to practice Falun Gong seriously. And it's been a very interesting process, those months, I have to say. So yeah, there is the book Falun Gong, but the main book of the practice of Falun Dafa is called Zhuan Falun. When I read that, my first, I can say, understanding was that there are principles in this book asking people to be good people, to be a good person. And to me, to put that into practice, it took me a while. I think because of my materialistic notions from being a kid and a teenager in this modern society, it was kind of a challenge to accept and to put into practice certain requirements. But when I did, honestly, for myself, many things changed. To give an example, I had very bad knees. I had problems with my knees, and I couldn't really run or use a bicycle. It was very painful to keep my knees in certain positions. One of the exercises is it's considered a sitting meditation, where should put one leg on top of each other. That was impossible for me, impossible, because of the pain. And at the beginning, I had to put pillows between my legs, under my knees. I had some ropes I was tying up my my legs to keep them in position. When I started to follow the principles in the book and to release, how can I say, to let go of negative mindset, negative thoughts, my body changed as well. And this is, how can I say, this is a principle that I would have to say nowadays many people I met accept, which is that the mind and the body are the same thing. So if there is a change in the mind, if you improve how you think, if you let go of negative thoughts, the body changes as well. And so with my knees, before I had to get injections because I couldn't, it was hard to walk for real. And then little by little, I have no pain anymore, and I can place one leg on top of each other. I can do the sitting meditation comfortably.
那您刚才说法轮功里的道理，很吸引你。那我想问一下，就是它和西方的宗教之间有什么不同呢？西方的宗教也是告诉人做善良的人。
Well, when it comes to this, I have to say that I didn't really, I can say, attend or follow a religion in Italy. My family, when I was a kid, decided not to let me attend religious, how can I say, religious schools or whatever, teachings. I didn't go to church at all, which was fairly unusual in Italy. This is back in the 80s. Fairly unusual. I would say it was me and another kid out of 50 kids that I can remember at least. So I don't have those life experience, which means, I mean, you go to church on Sunday, you attend their rituals and things like that. My mindset at that time was kind of negative against religions, because I thought that during the centuries, people in power, they changed and they distorted, in this case, Jesus' teachings for their own benefits. Mainly because the idea that I have is to see, in this case for Westerners, to see Jesus with his disciples in the forest with nothing. And when you think about the church, what you see are big buildings, gold, very expensive clothes, and a lot of rituals. So you have to dress a certain way, you have, I don't know, to burn candles, you have to do certain things in the morning, you cannot eat certain foods, you have to go to a certain location. All of this is not present in Falun Gong. And this is something that I found really honest, really true. One of the things that really attracted me the most at the beginning is that there is not a structure, there is not a hierarchy. So there are not different levels within Falun Gong. It doesn't matter if I started 10 years ago or 2 months ago. We consider ourselves practitioners. There is not a level of, I don't know, you're a manager or you're an abbot or you're a priest. There are no levels, there are no roles, there are no titles. And I found this really, really touching, I have to say. There is one master, as I said before, Master Leon Zhe, who made the practice public in China to the world. But there is no this kind of structure that you can find in religions. So it's a personal practice. And then, of course, one thing that it's really helpful, at least for me, is that we get together among people who practice Falun Gong, and we do what's, at least in English, is translated as sharing one's own experiences during the path of cultivation. And this is done, again, not to, I can say, to gain credits, so you can to get to another level, but it's for other people's benefits. The mindset is, if I share my own experience, my own challenges, it can help other people to improve. And the reason is that the thing that it's important in Falun Gong is to get rid of what is considered an attachment, an emotional attachment to something that is really keeping you from being, I would say, really free. And this can be many things. Like for me, at the very beginning, it was food. Coming from Italy, food has a strong. It is very important from a cultural perspective. Eating good food, certain kind of food, is considered a necessity almost. I have to say that maybe because I was in Australia, but I understood, okay, I have to let go of certain notions that I have in my mind about, okay, I have to drink coffee this way, I have to eat pasta this way, I have to eat pizza this way, I have to cook meat this way. I say, okay, let's not put so much importance on food. There are many things that are more important. As long as I can eat, that I have food, I'm okay. This is just an example.
Yoga 和练法轮功他们之间，就是在身体的变化这方面，有什么不一样的吗？
Well, I did yoga maybe twice, 3 times maybe, but I found it really complicated, overly complicated. Too many things to do. I have to say, and at least at that time, really boring for me, because consider that at that time I was 23, maybe 24, and I had this materialistic mindset that boys, at least in my area in the West, have. So to me, meditation was a waste of time. You know, if you don't get stuff done, something out of it, what's the point? The main difference is that in Falun Gong there are requirements for your character, for your moral character. That's the main thing. The exercises are very easy, are very simple. There are 5 sets of exercises that are fairly easy to learn. You don't have to remember too many things. You don't have to pay attention to the way you breathe, or you have to visualize. Quite the opposite. You should keep your mind empty. By reading the books, there are several books published. Little by little, I came to realize that actually being able to, let's say, meditate is actually very relevant. Being able to keep your mind empty is really powerful. I really changed my mind from before. Again, I consider like you're sitting there, eyes closed, you're wasting time. You're not doing much. But actually, the way I see it is like strengthening my abilities to stay focused, to stay calm. And main reason is that in modern society, you will have to face stress. You will have to face challenges. Something will happen. The way I see it, there's not such a thing as a happy life. You will have to deal with some problems. And by being able to keep your mind stable, a person would say, I'm able to deal with everyday life problems much, much better. And this is something that most of my friends in Italy, when they learned that I started to do meditation, they were kind of making fun of me. They were asking, yeah, but what do you gain? What do you get from doing those exercises? And I think it's not so much what you gain, but what you let go of. And I would say that, at least for me, I let go of many thoughts that were selfish. The idea that it's about me. I want to make money, or I want to travel around, or I want to eat that delicious food. Once I've been able to release this kind of selfish thoughts, actually becomes much easier to deal with everyday problems. Much easier, I have to say.
我听说练法轮功可以开发特异功能，有很多法轮功学员有超常的体验。您有这方面的体验吗？
Yeah, I would say I had, I'm gonna say, sudden experience that you might consider, I'm gonna say, super normal. I would say, well, the thing to say is that sudden states or experiences are considered as such super normal. I think because modern science cannot explain them. And I have to say that before starting with Falun Gong, I was getting interested in this on phenomenon that modern science cannot explain, that they don't know what to make of it. Well, one thing that happens to, I would say, to many people I met that do Falun Gong is that there is this feeling of having an energy, let's say, circulation around the body. Something really warm, and it's a very nice feeling. You can feel the energy circulating, because coming from, let's say, Chinese traditional understanding of how the body works, Chinese medicine believes that there are energy channels within the body. And when you don't feel well, you're sick, you have a disease, the understanding is that there is something wrong within these energy channels. Something is blocked. And so doing a practice like Falun Gong helps to unblock, to fix these energy channels. So not only you feel better, and my example with the knees, that's very real. Feel way more energetic. You feel way stronger, so to speak. This is one thing. Then another thing that I was interested, actually before doing Falun Gong, again, is something that is called supernormal, like supernormal powers, things like that. It's the fact of the third eye, which is something that is explained in the books of Falun Gong, and I was really interested in that because there are plenty of stories from the past of people who could see things from far away, like things that happen in another location, or things that happen in the past, things that happen in the future.
在意大利也有这样的说法吗？
Well, there are stories of especially monks who could, how can I say, demonstrate special powers, special abilities. I don't know, however you want to see it, that they could, again, they could see things, or they could levitate. Even nowadays, there are like so-called magicians who are performing, they're doing performances like show. You say, okay, yeah, where's the trick here? There's no trick. I mean, these people have special abilities. There's no other explanation. This is not normal Normal stuff. One thing, I can share that it was really powerful. When I started the first time to do the exercises, to when I decided, okay, I want to do Falun Gong seriously, consistently, and I want to do my best to follow the requirements that are in the books. It took me like several months. And one thing that had happened is that one day I was driving and I stopped and I thought, okay, I have to decide if I want to keep doing Falun Gong or if I don't do it. I cannot stay in the middle. It's yes or not. And I could feel from within, yes, I want to do it. And it was a really honest response to my question. It was not, I was not faking it. It was from within. And then after that, what happened is that I could see like the sky opening, divine beings looking down at me, and they were like clapping and being happy.
It's not an illusion. It's real.
Yeah, very real. Very
非常
real.
真实啊。
I think it didn't last that long. I would say maybe 5 seconds. Who knows? But it was definitely real. And I felt really happy, really warm. I said, okay, yeah, this is the right thing to do. This is really the right thing to do. And I'm saying this because not only me, but many friends who do Falun Gong, I think what happened is that they had to choose a path. You do Falun Gong or you stop or you do something else. So what do you choose? There is something that it's more, I would say it's very rational. It's something well thought. It's not, I would say, blind faith. It's something that comes from one's experience. And so for me, in those months, I met different people who were doing different things. They were doing other practices. And every time it was kind of a test to see, okay, am I following this person or I'm staying with Falun Gong? And it happened like a couple of times. After that experience, again, and again, I don't know how to explain it clearly, but think about the sky that opens like a curtain, like in theater. It opens slowly, and then you can see the scene behind. Yeah, that was really intense. And so after that, I decided to do my best to follow Falun Gong's, let's say, teachings, requirements.
真有意思哈。那您以前有去过中国吗？
No.
Oh.
No, I don't. Maybe one day.
愿您能有一天实现您这个愿望。感谢您今天花这么多时间哈，跟我们分享您的个人经历，使我受益很多。谢谢。
Thank you.
马可现在住在纽约，还学会了中国舞龙。另外，他也是一位美食家，工作之余还有自己的美食频道。感兴趣的朋友可以去他的频道欣赏意大利美食。他的频道链接我放在下面。